gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Never Chalk podcast, where I think I got my audio right this time. Someone in chat let me know real quick if you can't hear me. I'm pretty sure I got it. Think I fixed my problem from last time. But welcome everyone to the Never Chalk podcast. This is Piscaro DB or Drew with my co-host, my duo Volts, aka Chandler. And before we dive into the main, meat of the show, as far as Rostermania and things like that, we've got a special guest on the pod to start things off. He is the founder and leader of the Houston Spartans, who we are proud to be a part of with this podcast, and that is Papa Spart. Everyone, round of applause. Throw some dubs in chat. And
Yes, sir. Please
yeah,
welcome Papa Spark. My gosh. Papa, could you please do a quick little introduction for us?
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Chris. Everyone calls me Papa. Papa Spark in the COD scene and any other game scene and the virtual scene. So I am the owner, along with my beautiful wife, Mama Spark of the Houston Spartans. Um, yeah, currently we're in off season, waiting for Black Ops 7 to kick off.
hell yeah.
Yes, we're very excited about that. We're very excited to have you on for this week's episode of Never Chalked, where it is never chalked.
Thank you, guys.
Uh, so we have a few questions lined up for you. I'm going to start things off. First off, what made you decide to start the Houston Spartans?
Yeah, so me and some buddies were playing in a free league back in 2023. Matt, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were called the Los Angeles Spartans, and the owner of that league, his name was Drew. He had made our team colors purple and black as per Chris when he was with LAG,
Mm.
and yeah, so hence yeah, the Los Angeles Spartans. So we ended up finishing that league, and then LAG did their thing. Spart was looking for a team, and he ended back in Challengers, and through the short amount of time experience that we had with him, and then doing COD and the whole Challengers bit and all that. My wife and I were like, shoot, might as well just make up our own challengers team, and hopefully Chris, our son, will be the main focus of our team. So so we went into it pretty blind, not knowing a whole lot about the challenger scene as internal stuff, as far as organization stuff, but. The most important part for us was helping our son Chris, for us to be a bridge to help him get back in the league.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
as you mentioned that we just for those that don't know, Papa Spart is the father of Call of Duty League player Spart, who is currently on Cloud 9. And that's going to lead us to our next question. Drew, take it away.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like literally a perfect segue. So, I feel like this is obviously a unique opportunity to ask this question. I've met a few parents previously at events of current and former pros. So I just wanted to ask you, what's it like, having a son that is in the CDL and is living that competitive COD life day in and day out. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so at first, my wife and I didn't really understand, as far as what it took to to be at the top of, Call of Duty and to be a pro, right? We just, my wife and I figured like he's playing his games with his buddies, and just just vibing and chilling and all that,
Sure.
and other ideas and thoughts that pop into parents' heads, like, nah, he's wasting his time, he needs to be doing other stuff other than playing games and all that. But I remember like it was yesterday, when he was grinding in challengers. I want to say 2022. I may be off on years because it's like a blur to me, but I remember him going to a Challenger event there in Dallas, and on the way, he got a call from LAG saying that, hey, we want to sign you, we want you on our team. And I remember I was on the tennis court coaching some kids, and he called me. And usually when Chris calls me, it's pretty important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he called me, and he's like, "Dad, I made it." I'm like, "What? You made it to Dallas already?" He's like, "No, I made it." I'm like, "Okay, okay, what?" "Dad, I went pro." I'm like, "Pro in what?" And then he's all in COD, He goes, "Yeah." "Yeah. See, I wasn't, wasting my time, and I finally made it." But a short backstory on that was we were touring, colleges because his senior year, he was pretty determined tennis was his way and to compete in college for tennis. And so after visiting some colleges, and meeting some coaches and having a plan set, during that his senior year, about mid to late in the tennis season, he hurt his Achilles pretty bad. We thought he tore it, but it was a pretty bad sprain to where it was pretty close to tearing. So he was out a couple months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he really couldn't do anything but pick up the sticks and
Right.
and he got better, right? He got better, playing with his friends and all the kids that are currently in the league right now. And I remember same time I was on the tennis court, and he goes, "Dad, I need to talk to you when you get home." And so I got home one night, and he's like, "Dad, I want to take a gap year." And I'm all, thinking, stuff in my head like like any caring dad would, but like, no, I'm like, no, you're going to pursue with the plan. You're not going to waste your time with this and all that. And so I kind of paused, and he's like, "Dad, I'm going to take a gap year. Give me 8 months, 9 months. And if not, I'm going to, I'll go to school and take it head on and move forward with it." And then, within that 8 month span, I mean, he made it, So yeah, so with that journey, I mean, my wife and I were like, we just didn't understand at first, right? And so the best part of owning an org and seeing these kids compete and what they have to sacrifice and what we have to sacrifice as parents is it takes a good amount of time and practice to get really good. You just can't play it for an hour or two. I mean, we're talking about 10 plus hours. And so knowing that and working with kids, with our previous challenger teams and academy teams and helping people along the way pursue their dreams, we're like, man, we really want to help kids like Chris who started from the bottom and worked their way up. And we're like, man, it's important to us that Chris achieved his dreams, he achieved his goals, and we want to do that for other kids. And that's what made, the Houston Spartans, even more important for us. But as far as, with Chris being in the league and all that, it's different, but in a good way. You meet a lot of great people. We've been very blessed to meet a bunch of great people all over the country. And, and the best part is, guys, we do the best, with what we can and help. But most importantly, everyone that has helped within our organization has been a blessing to us.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And so we all know that Spart is a gamer. And for those that don't know, Papa Spart is a bit of a gamer himself. So I've got a question for you: is what games did you grow up playing?
Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers, Atari, and then Nintendo games, Mario Kart, Star Fox, Madden football, Joe Montana's football, just all kinds of games. Yeah. So yeah,
A true
so
OG gamer right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
seriously.
yeah, so but yeah, so I played those thinking I was a little short story I'll share with you guys. So I thought I was the shit playing Modern Warfare. I mean, it's one of my favorite games, and we had moved into our new house that we're currently in now, and I think Chris was 12 or 13, and I'm like, he's like, Chris, I'll play you one-on-one. He's like, you sure? I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, how bad is it going to be? And so Modern Warfare 2, I forget the map. I'm not sure if this even makes sense. Kiachi or whatever it's
Karachi?
called.
Karachi,
Karachi, right.
Yeah.
And Chris like, I mean, that was one of my maps. And Chris like, all right, first 25. And then I think I might have killed him 3 or 4 times. And he just, yeah, I was like, no. Yeah, it was pretty humbling. And yeah, so I knew, even like, with like Spark, like Chris, his gamer tag came from Halo, Spartan 117, so Spark for short. So I believe that was Chris's first love for games, because I played Halo when it came out, and of course Halo 2, but I think Chris picked up the love of the game, from that. And back then we didn't have this type of stuff to where we had to plug in TVs with cords and just lay on the floor and play with family. And we knew Chris was special whenever he would just beat up on everybody. And as Halo 2 evolved, and little more than that, we had one of the old school Xbox 360 headsets. And
Oh yeah.
he had the headset to hear the game, but we set it to where he couldn't hear what trash talking would come his way, because he was only like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
But he was shitting on everybody. So but we knew he was special. So, and then of course tennis helped out with his hand-eye coordination tremendously. So but yeah, no, he's a great kid.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a journey. That's nostalgic too, because I mean, I feel like it was the same way. Like even someone, I'm 26, and I feel like when I was growing up, it was like you're plugging in the red cable, the yellow cable, the white cable, just to some junky TV. You're just playing, laying on the ground. Now it's like super serious. Got a gaming chair, the best monitor, like all that stuff. Like it's crazy how much.
It's not that way anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm learning as I go, guys. I mean, half the stuff that I see and everybody with the setups, I have no clue. I stick to my basic Xbox and controller and headset, and I'm fine with that. So.
Right.
Probably
Absolutely.
for the best, honestly.
Yeah, but kids and some family members are like, Chris, and kids are like, Dad, how do you play with this stuff? I'm like, hey, it works, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something else I've wanted to ask you about, because not only just for Chris or Spart, but y'all have been fielding challengers teams now for the past, I believe, 2 or 3 years. And when it comes to that process of putting the team together and finding the talent to represent the Houston Spartans, what would you say from your side of it goes into that process of identifying players to be a part of the organization?
Yeah, so it was easy for us at first because we had Chris, right? And he had, his team, was, people that he thought would fit best and vibe well. So he took care of that, right? As far as scheduling, plane flights and hotel stays and all that. That was easy because Chris would handle all that, and as far like I said on the players, he would handle that as well. But when Chris went to Omit and now Cloud9, it's just we tried to get the best available roster at that point in time, and we understand that that rosters changed, like we changed socks. But at the end of the day, yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, we've met my family and I have met some great challengers kids, that have been positive and hungry to compete. Those who aren't toxic, who are good kids. And so, that, is a big part of it. Now, it doesn't have to be a top tier team. We just want kids who really want it. They don't have to be top tier. It could be anyone who is willing to represent the org in a positive manner. And with respect to the org, my family and others, basically,
Yeah,
and help them, right. And along the way, with we've evolved to where we're reaching out to high schools locally within the Houston area. And, between Aldine, ISD, with their esports program, and then Stafford High School, we met, with the coaches and some great kids who not only play COD, but other games as well. So, we want to help the young kids as well, because if they're really good at the game, they can pursue a college degree while getting a scholarship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that leads us to our last question for you, Papa Spart.
Sure.
And that is, what's a roster that you'd like to see in the CDL next year?
Are you talking from the challenger side?
No, from in the CDL. Who would you like to see on a roster if you got to build one yourself in the CDL?
Of course, number one would be Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number two would be Merck. Chris, always spoke highly of him. Yeah, I think last season you said, keep your ears out for Merck, because he's gonna be good in about a year. I mean, he's gonna be really good. So, Chris, spoke really highly of him. Let's see, Merck, he was an AR, right?
Yep.
Yep.
As far as subs, I would have to go with Nep, because he's a great player, and he and Chris were roommates there at LAG, and family adores him. And then the other SMG,
Tough question, right?
tough question. I mean, who else is out there?
We actually have some. Maybe we can suggest a couple. I guess.
Yeah, sure.
There's plenty of SMGs out there. So a BZ, 04, Metals, Real, TJ Haley, Nero, Gwen, Crimp, Johnny. Craze is one. He's coming up from Challengers as well. Mac.
Yeah, I would say, on the lines, SMG would be someone like Craze, because he's really hungry and he wants it really bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'd be a fun roster. I mean, I know
That
would be.
obviously from a practical standpoint, Mercules obviously ain't going nowhere,
Yep.
but that roster, I mean, God, that would be fun.
That'd be fun to watch for sure.
Some young talent all together that I think they would actually like make they'd do some damage. I like that.
Yeah, and like Chris, he plays fast, and I'm still learning stats and what everything means. But even sometimes when his team loses, I mean, he still has the most damage between both teams. And has done the most damage between both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Papa Spark, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you coming on and doing an interview with us. Again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, and we hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
I appreciate you both, and thank you for being a part of our organization, and we're very blessed to have you guys.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. We're happy to be part of it as well. Appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. Awesome. Well, that was Papa Spark, you guys.
Dubs in the chat.
Dubs in the chat. We loved having him on. Great guy. He's a great owner. He absolutely fantastic. Super supportive. Very what's the word I'm looking for? I kind of lost what I was going to say. But give him a follow on Twitter.
A damn roster.
He does know how to build the damn roster. You're right about that.
Compared to some of these other like CDL GMs, like I don't know. I might have him put a roster together low key.
I know, right? Next GM in the CDL, right low there, key, man. You might be seeing the Houston Spartans in the CDL at some point, but
straight up. But yeah,
that would be amazing.
I mean, this was a perfect segue having him talk about hypothetical what roster he'd like to see, because obviously that's what this episode is all about. We are going to be taking a very, very deep dive into all things Rostermania based on what we know so far, what we've heard, what we've seen out there, and not only just discuss the players and the players that are available, but also who we think would make the most sense for certain rosters, and then of course we're even gonna go ahead use a little. We're using tier list maker, but not for what it's normally used for. Really, just putting together the rosters, what we think makes the most sense based on what we know is available.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we should start out just based on the free agents that we know of going into
Yeah,
this
that are
offseason.
mostly confirmed. This is a list of free agents for Black Ops 7. Honestly, might be like the biggest amount of free agents I think we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in
I
the
mean,
CDL era,
I would say if it's not the most, it's definitely the most.
Mercy to Optic probably.
It's the most talent heavy that we've ever seen. Like this is truly an opportunity for the league to shake up and not just be, three squads and then everyone else. Because I would say
Right.
this past season, low key wasn't like that. I mean, Miami was very competitive. Vancouver was obviously very competitive. Obviously, only three teams won any of the events, but there was a lot of talent. And now
There,
even
yeah,
those teams that won stuff are splitting up. So
I think a lot of the young talent has finally started to kind of step up,
yeah,
and live up to the expectations of coming in from challengers and from just wherever they're coming from. And I mean, like just to name a few, like Joe Deceives stepped up massively this season. Neptune has come back and looked great. Um, then you got Metals kind of stepped up there at the end of the year.
especially at
Uh,
EWC. Yeah.
yeah, it was just to name a few. But we're gonna have some fun with this today, guys. We want you guys involved with this. For those that are watching live, um, so I can be Phase Rain 2.0. So for okay, nice
Phase Silver Rain. There you go.
Phase Silver Rain. But
Uh,
so Kevology, I'm surprised that 100T isn't making a change and FaZe is dropping 3 players. Well, so there might
yeah,
be
about that.
some new news is that instead of them not making a change, they could be potentially making a 2-man change.
Yeah.
Um, because according to what Drew just pulled up right there, they have status unclear for Ghosty. And yeah, and then there's been rumors about Envoy as well, which is what Drew and I both suggested last week. If y'all don't remember that,
Yeah.
we were like a two man change was needed, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. So it looks like they got some smart cookies over there in that camp. Um,
Yeah. I think it's inevitable. I mean, they fell off hard at the end of the year there. It was very clear that it was those two that were underperforming. Um, and I mean, they seem to be in win now mode. So with
yeah,
how heavy and or with how much talent is available in free agency, I'm not shocked that they're like, we're gonna make a move. If it wasn't a big free agent class like we've seen, well, like we just showed you, they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't make a move. But
yeah.
because it is, it's a different story.
And we've got Hauntingly. He's an LAT fan. He says, my LAT boys need a 2-man change. I'm going to be so real. And he says he loves Dan and Dill, but just
Yeah,
shaking his head, man. I
yeah,
mean, it's just needed. Obviously, Scrap and Hydra are going nowhere, um, at least for this next year. And you just have to build around them, like what's good for them. And
yeah.
but let's get right into roster building, shall we?
Yeah.
Um,
I said so to keep everyone in the loop of how we went about this. Obviously this graph from CDO Intel, it
Shout
kind
out
of
CDL
breaks.
Intel.
Yeah, shout out to them for putting this together. It's super helpful. It basically shows you, who is locked in, who is rumored or potentially a free agent, and for anyone that is rumored, we just went ahead and assumed they're a free agent. That obviously could change. And then, of course, for anyone that is listed as a restricted free agent, for
Such as a
those of y'all that,
BZ.
yeah, BZ and Diamond Con, I think, are the only two at the moment. If y'all don't know what that term means, essentially, it means they are locked in to their current roster, but another team could offer them a contract and essentially buy them out.
And FaZe would have to match it, right?
Yes,
Correct.
FaZe would have to match the offer, or they would go to that other team. So at the moment, we're leaving them where they're at, I believe, on the chart. That's how we went about it. But that could, this is all going to be based on our predictions, so we might end up moving them around. But
yeah,
as you can see, I've built this out. So, it's each roster, Optic, their full
we have
squad.
Optic locked up because
they're not changing.
Yeah, they're not changing. Especially because the guy that I predicted that they would be potentially looking at looks like he's staying on FaZe.
Yeah,
and I'm
he ain't
referring
going
to Simp.
anywhere.
So
I'm actually
which is what another like prediction, not necessarily a prediction that I said, but what if you remember, I told you, I said if I'm FaZe, I'm building around Simp. It's just that simple. And
Yep.
it seems like that's how they're going about it, and props to them. That's what they need to do. Let Simp get his roster that he feels that he can compete with. I want to say one more thing before we jump into this. I am very excited, and not because like I'm a FaZe hater or anything, but I'm excited to see FaZe split up and we see where everybody goes, and potentially there being a lot more competitive rosters now.
Yep.
And just new faces, new teams. Like I feel like that's been a long time coming. And FaZe have finally decided to, you know what, let's blow it up after 6 years of being terrors and all that stuff, but with only one champ win to really show for that. Yeah. So, but anyways, let's jump right in. Let's see. We have one more comment real quick, or a couple more.
Yeah.
LAT sent offer to sell. Yep, we will be talking about that. Falcons got that money. Yep, we'll be talking about that. So I bet they go for a BZ. Not sure who the fourth would be. Let's see. I think they're going for both Sell and a BZ, but happy if they get either. Absolutely true. Not to think too deeply into things, but when Scrap was on Ultra, he did ask Cell if he was trying to win when they beat FaZe. So,
yeah,
very true.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. So let's get right into it. So how do you want to go about this? Do you want to let's each take a player and put them where we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is what we have as far as the teams currently. So
yeah. So one thing I want to point out is some of the rumors are talking about, like LAT is targeting Joe Deceives and Abizi, and there was one more that they were maybe Neptune to potentially replace them.
Yeah.
I think two of those are realistic and one of those is not, because I don't think Joe Deceives goes anywhere from Ultra. I just don't. One, because he's still locked up, so he'd have to be bought out, and want to go there. And another one was Rencor to FaZe potentially, and Rencor I think is still for sure locked up with Heretics. So
yeah, he's
for now
under contract. So I don't know what the deal is. Why everyone's like, oh, he'll go to FaZe because.
I mean, it could it happen? Yes, but
wouldn't Heretics have to release him for that if he's
under
contract?
Yes, they would have to. He'd have to get bought out. If FaZe could get scrapped, they could probably keep the trio. I mean, see, like that's just not going to happen. They're not getting scrapped. There's no way he leaves Steve's. There's just no way.
Not when you got Hydra there.
Yeah, it's just. But we're gonna dive into it. So one of my predictions that I want to give, and this might be a hot take, I have Abuza going to Gentle Mates to be their face player. I don't know how you feel about that, but
Diamond Con.
Yeah, I know that seems weird, right? I don't know if they end up keeping Diamond Con, but Abuza, he speaks French, and I think they're looking for a high-powered player to put on their team. I know Abuza might be getting some better offers than Gentlemates, but I think Gentlemates has some money that they're willing to spend and get a French player that they can truly build around, the one that they thought they were going to get out of Lens. So I kind of see a Abuza going to Gentlemates.
Yeah, I like that. I could see it. I know their dream is to somehow get Hydra eventually, but
Yeah.
I guess that's not a bad compromise. Something that I think we had discussed before that I don't know why it hasn't been brought up amongst just like the free agent chatter of something that, in my opinion, makes too much sense. They freaking won champs together as a duo.
Yeah.
Kismet to 100 Thieves or
Yeah.
LA Thieves. I don't know where
I agree with that
feel differently
100%.
about that, but like the dude, literally, despite the team, despite Gentlemates being terrible, he was balling out. I mean, he literally almost 1v4'd LAT at EWC. They got 3-0'd,
Yeah.
but like he was putting on like LeBron numbers, and
Yeah.
like him and Hydra won champs together. Like, why? I don't know why people. He's a free agent. It's not. He's not locked up. He's not restricted. None of that.
Nope.
And you know he plays well with Hydra. I don't get why this hasn't been discussed as like a realistic, like, unless they had some falling out that I'm not aware of.
Right.
I don't understand why people don't think this is a probable or even possible move. So
Right.
that's my prediction to get things started.
And that gives them, not only a sub that worked well with Hydra, but an IGL to replace Dan Ghosty with. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone there. I like the move. I think it makes sense. So I'm with you on that one. My next one is you don't even have to move your mouse very much.
All right.
I do think Abizi ends up leaving FaZe. I know he's a restricted free agent, but I think he's going to chase that money. And I think he is going to, drumroll, the Vegas Falcons.
Ooh. So in that case, do you have Xnid staying on the flex?
I do. In this scenario, I do.
Okay, so it'd be Pred and a BZ, and then Xnid on the flex, and then they would need a main AR.
Correct.
All right. Obviously that's a bit of a trickier situation, but I think everyone is pretty much under the impression that if anyone's going to throw a blank check at a player like a BZ, it would be the Falcons.
Yeah.
In the case of Celium, because I see that V Nice, I hope I'm saying that correctly. First of all, welcome to the stream. Saying I heard Falcons trying to throw a bag at Cell too. Obviously
Right.
that's an easier situation, honestly, because he's just an outright free agent. They don't have to put this overly abundant dollar amount that another team can't match, because at that point, if you had this roster, Pred, Xnid, Abizi, and you're like, hey, Cell, you want to be our main AR with this squad? I would say, he would get a lot of money too. That'd be pretty tempting.
Yeah.
I want to come back to Celium just because I know that that's a possibility that's been discussed there. I think I want to try and solve this puzzle here. Boston Breach.
I was wondering when you were going to bring them up because what it looks like they need is a main AR, right?
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. And actually, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you with this one. Again, not something that's been discussed at all, but something that I think again makes a lot of sense just based on history. So obviously, based on this roster alone, I think Snoopy and Purge are a perfect SMG duo. Like, don't do a thing about that.
Yeah.
I would say the only fear I have for it, even though he is under contract, is I could see Miami maybe wanting to add Snoopy into the mix.
Yes. It's funny you bring that up because I was going to say if Snoopy was a restricted or unrestricted free agent, I could 100% see him go into Miami for medals and them
Yeah.
having Real, Super, Rincor, and Snoopy.
Yep.
Dude, that's a
But
roster right there.
but in my honest opinion, as far as something that's realistic, something that makes sense, something that would, I think, be a good fit overall for Boston Breach to finish out their roster, based on the fact that there's been conversations that he is going to be made a free agent. I think they bring in Insight to be their main AR.
Wow, yeah.
I think Cammy and Insight were a very solid AR duo. Obviously, things, uh, they ended up not teaming anymore because I believe, how did that end up working out? Didn't Bance and Cammy end up going to like Rocker at one point, or am I tripping about that?
Vance and yeah, they both did. They were on Rocker.
Yeah, was that MW2 or
Yeah,
Vanguard
I'm pretty sure it
or
was MW2. It was right after Vanguard.
yeah. But when they were together in Cold War, for example, that was Insight's first year. He came up after Major One, I believe it was, and replaced Methods on that squad. And they were just a really good AR duo. I mean, Cammy being a super aggressive flex, and then Insight being like your slower, traditional main AR. And with what he showed when he had, when he was playing next to Beans this season, they're both kind of like similar players, and it just wasn't working out.
Right.
And he was having some really bad games. A lot of people were thinking he was going to get dropped before EWC, and ultimately they dropped Beans instead. But then they put Kleenex next to him, who was debuting in the role of flex and obviously was taking a very aggressive approach to that position. And what happened? Insight had a much better tournament. He looked a lot more like himself. So to me, if he's a free agent and he's available, why wouldn't Breach? I think it's a safe play. I think you know what you're getting with him, and it's gonna be something more consistent than what you had with Awakening, and that move allows all four of those players to play their desired roles. You're not worried about like, oh, does this guy got to play flex instead or something like that.
Sure.
I think it makes the most sense.
Sure. And I agree with that. Definitely like is not something that I had even really thought about or considered, but I think the move makes sense if that's the direction that they would want to go. Kind of fits in there perfectly, and like you said, him and Cammy had great teamwork together when they were on the ARs on their Toronto Ultra days.
Yeah,
Um, and so I think it works. And then you already know Purge and Snoopy works as a
yeah.
SMG duo. The
And
only
just
thing
based on
that
how he's been playing, it wouldn't be like you wouldn't have to throw some big amount of money at him.
yeah, the only thing that would worry me is who would IGL between him and Purge. And I'm just
Mm.
going to ask you this question instead of like actually debating it. Who would you have?
Um, I mean, with Insight being the newcomer onto the roster, I would personally say that you leave Purge as the IGO. Because like when you have a situation like this where you're just making a one man change, um, obviously if they had that conversation, they would decide depending on what they felt was best for the team. But when you have a 3-man squad and you're just bringing in one more guy, like you're probably not changing up too much as far as how you're playing overall. So like,
Yeah,
why make a change in that direction?
for sure. Okay, so I know this is probably going to seem a little unfair, but it's just something I have to do just because it's what I think happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for Surge, I think they pick up
Surge.
both Draza and Kenny. And I think they team back
Hmm.
up and they both run the ARs for Surge. So
I think
if
that's
you could please
interesting.
move those there.
Yeah, I just gotta find Mr.
Oh
Kenneth.
boy, Kenny.
Where the heck are
Where
you?
is Kenny at?
There he is, towards the bottom. I was looking for a rocker jersey. He's got the G2 jersey on in the picture. That's That's interesting. I know that there's been conversations about them two potentially teaming back up, and there's actually been some beef with Mr. Benjay Nassim, where he was saying that this would be stupid, and Kenny
Yep.
replied by saying that Benjay is the R word. I'm not gonna say the full word, of course, but
Right.
you can use your imagination there, chat. And YouTube if you're watching on there. But then Benji also was getting into some verbal beef with the Beezy as well. So
Yeah, Benjay never ceases to amaze me with the amount of beef that he goes and gets in with players.
Yeah.
I
But
I
I
don't
think
even
that's
know like where
interesting.
he came from, man. Where in the
I
hell
want to
did
say he
Benjay
was
come
like
from?
when Zuma was playing for FaZe. I want to say like he was like not team manager in the sense of like the guy like building the roster and stuff, but like team manager in the like sense of like doing all the stuff behind the scenes to assist the team, like transportation and
I gotcha.
you know what I mean. I think
Yeah.
that's what his role was, but I might be wrong about that.
Well, that
But that's
makes sense, I
interesting though. I
guess.
mean,
But
I think for Surge, you're starting out fresh. You're gonna have a brand new roster, supposedly, and I don't think that's a bad start to putting it together. Is uniting two guys that have won a championship together, and then it gives you flexibility to really determine what you want to do with the SMGs.
yep.
Um, I'll be completely honest to finish their squad off, and kind of play off of what you just did. I know
Sure.
that technically they have been made free agents. They could technically sign wherever. But if you bring those two as the AR duo,
Mm-hmm.
personally, I think you got to re-sign your SMG duo. I think they both played exceptional all year.
Yep.
Uh, they, Neptune obviously did not have the best performance at grand finals of EWC, but that was definitely an outlier compared to his overall performance. And 04, in his first full season, also looked really comfortable, especially once Neptune was brought in to be his SMG duo.
Yep.
And I mean, if you're Rambo Ray, their coach, I can't imagine you want to restart with an entirely new roster. So it's like if you can keep two guys who were a big part of the reason you were constantly getting second place, which obviously isn't the goal, but in their case, a lot of people would say that was overperforming expectations. I think why not, So personally, although they're free agents, I think that Surge are going to do everything possible to re-sign their SMG duo in 04 and hold on, there we go, 04 and Neptune.
That's interesting. I'm a little mad that you did that, but but just because that's where I also kind of was going to predict potentially Crimp might go to,
Okay,
but
I think
we'll
that's
see.
interesting.
We'll see. My next prediction, and I don't know if this is going to make FaZe fans happy or not, but I'm going to say we all know what brings the best out of Simp, and that's a super aggressive SMG, right? Well, you just lost to BZ, probably the most aggressive SMG in the league, arguably. So how about going for the second or third one in Kleenex?
So Kleenex reverting back to the SMG role, not playing the
SMG roll
flex.
on FaZe, teaming up with Simp, and you really not skipping a beat in terms of like I don't know,
Oh
just
man, Rambo Ray buying new bowling balls with that second place cash for sure.
Rambo Ray.
Yo, is Hot and Ling? Are you like a Dashy burner account or? That's wild.
Yeah, we got Dashy's burner in the chat right now.
Low key, low key. But yeah, talk me through this this Kleenex
Yeah,
move.
so Kleenex is a very fast-paced SMG, and I think Simp really needs that for him to really unlock his potential. So, in theory, like if you're not going to get your sub duo back with a BZ, why not go after the second or third best option in terms of fast-paced SMG in the league with Kleenex? And I think they don't skip a beat. Honestly, I think they would kind of fit seamlessly together, um, just because the way Kleenex plays is very similar to how a BZ plays. And I just think that works out well. So Kleenex, welcome to Phase, my guy.
I like it. I like it. That sounds so weird, but I like it
I know, right?
honestly. Trying to think of where I want to go next here. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Okay. I think I want to try and tackle. Oh, Papa Smart wants me to try and do C9. All right.
C9.
All right, I'll give them I'll give it a shot. I'll add one player to them. Obviously, with Sib and Spart, they've got their ARs locked. They need some SMG support. Um, Whew, I think. Looking at my options here. Got a lot of options. Could look challengers. Could stick with what's currently available and former pros. Um, you know they just had him in just for EWC, and we know what he's able to do if he's like allowed to be the aggro SMG. We saw it with Carolina. I don't see any reason not to run it back. Again, I know he's a free agent. He could sign anywhere, but you only had him for one event, and you know what
Yeah.
he's capable of. Why not run it back with Gwyn? I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That was the direction I was hoping you were going to go.
yeah. I mean, I definitely think they could the pairing as far as the two SMGs. I don't know how I felt overall about it being both Kremp and Gwyn, just because I feel like they kind of have some similar play styles.
Yeah.
But I think Gwyn is still such a young talent, and I think you got to stick with him and just find
Yeah.
the right duo for him.
Yeah, and this is probably going to be not necessarily a hot take, but to bounce off the C9 thing, what I think they need is another young talent and up and coming. And I know the owner said he wouldn't release his players if it wasn't on a top team, but they're they're going to want to make the league. So I think, why don't you give me Craze on C9 to pair with Gwen?
All right, I gotta find it. I gotta be honest. I'm dumb. I don't know his picture by heart, so I gotta pull it up here. All right, there he is. He's got the glasses on. Where he at though? There's Omit, right?
Is he top right? Top
Nah,
right on the first row.
first row. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Okay. Yes. W. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that roster a lot.
I think there's a lot to be a lot to be said. I think a lot of our predictions have been that Craze and Mamba would try to stick together when they get
Yeah,
brought up, but honestly, that's not necessarily they can't. They're not in the position to dictate that. If a team wants to
right.
sign one of them, I don't think the other one's gonna be like, I don't want to. I don't want to leave. The other guy, but I think that's good, man. I think that's an exciting squad that again, at the very least, like, people might not look at that team and go into the season and be like, they're going to be competing for winning majors and stuff right off the bat. But I think you see a squad like that and you're like, they can make Sundays. they can definitely compete against any roster.
Yeah.
And they can definitely, shake things up. Like, I wouldn't look at that roster and be like, count them out.
Yeah, yeah, right. I think too. Like the thing is it's loaded with firepower. Like people may not realize, but they're all shooters on that team.
Yeah.
That is a team full of shooters, and if they can just put it together on the map, teamwork wise, yeah, they'd be a very dangerous team.
Yeah.
And yeah, somebody was saying accuracy. Are you watching? Yeah, somebody get accuracy in the chat so he knows his roster that he needs for next season.
Get Lamar in the chat.
Get Lamar in here. All right. So that was me. It's your turn, buddy.
All right. Back on deck. Let's see. I think I gotta take a stab at what FaZe might do with the AR position. If they're at Simp and they're at Kleenex, they got the SMGs figured out. They obviously are gonna need to have the ARs in check. I don't know. This might be a super faded take, so I'm not even going to put it unless you agree with it. But I think something that would be at least interesting in my eyes is if he is made a free agent, FaZe are going to need a new IGL.
Yep.
They're going to need a new main AR.
Mm-hmm.
Why not keep Dan Ghosty in red?
Oh, I like it.
And put him on FaZe.
I like it. And then
why? The dude's obviously a top talent. He's been on Optic. He's been on Thieves. He's had success everywhere that he's gone. He's won majors. He's been considered a really solid IGL. And I think a change of scenery might not hurt. I don't think he was necessarily bad this year for 100 Thieves or LA Thieves by any means, but maybe he feels a little underappreciated with all the talk that's been going on. And what better way to get a little redemption than trying to go and be part of the new phase, if you will.
Yeah, the new era phase. I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm actually going for my pick. I'm going to round out FaZe.
Let's do it.
And what I think that they need is a young gun, up and coming AR. You know where I'm going with this. Give me Mamba. Give me Mamba.
To the Omit family. All right.
Give me Mamba to round
out. Off the top of my head, I'm good.
All right. Give me Mamba on FaZe to pair with Dan Ghosty and Kleenex and Simp. And my God, what a roster.
I mean, look, that's the type of situation that a guy like Mamba would be dreaming of, right? I mean, you're going to one of the top teams, and not only that, but with this hypothetical roster that we put together, you're teaming up with Simp, who some consider to be one of the best players of the CDL era. Some consider him to be one of the best players, period. Kleenex obviously has had a lot of success in this league. And Dan Ghosty's still young, but same boat. He's done a lot. Mamba wouldn't have to worry about, do I have to IGL? No, your other AR's got that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good position for him to want to be in. I think that makes FaZe as a whole an exciting roster to be on the lookout for, just because obviously their roster's been so solidified for the past, the entirety of the CDL era outside of that fourth player, and to see them have a challengers guy come up and a true rookie be part of the squad, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, that'd be really fun, man. All right.
Oh, I gotta
moving on.
I realized your camera's frozen on us, so.
Oh, here we go. Well, at least it didn't happen during the interview. That's right? What I'm happy about.
It held out. It stayed strong throughout that, so.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I will join back, guys.
Yeah, 1 sec. While I try and form. Do I gotta send a new link, or do you just join on the one that's already there? He's so back.
See if the camera works.
No, you're good now.
Awesome. All right, let's keep it
Sweet.
going.
Yeah, I'll keep it rolling. Here, let me move some of these completed rosters to the top. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and Optic is the only one that has stayed the same.
Yep.
So we got that's 4, that's 5. Anyone else? No.
Nope.
Or is that
Still working on
let's see,
them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got.
Why don't you move the
7.
Falcons up where they
Yeah,
have
they're
3?
close. They're close.
That way, kind of keep a
Yeah.
uniform there.
There we go. Okay. So we're getting close here. 100T Falcons, and all right. I want to try and tackle G2 now. I
Woo!
want to start moving with them. They're one of the two that at the moment only have one player on the roster. Gonna be completely honest here. I don't know why he wasn't already still signed, or they didn't extend him, or whatever it is. But what are they thinking with letting Gio be a free agent?
I agree.
I
agree.
think it's as
I couldn't
simple
believe
as
that.
maybe his contract is just up and that's it. He's a free agent. But, like, bro, Estriel and Gio is not a bad core for your team.
No, it's not.
They both kind of came in together during the, what was it, the MW2 season. Or was it MW3? I think that might have been when they were kind of coming up, and I want to say Estriel was with LAG, and Gio was with Rocker, and then they teamed them up this past year. But
Gio was on not Falcons, but Legion at one point.
that's right. But I think they're a good core to build around.
Yeah, I agree.
Neither of them are top players in their positions yet by any means, but I think they both have a lot of potential. And if you can find the right teammates to put around them, I think G2 would have a good squad. So I don't know why you wouldn't try and keep those two paired together.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and knock out. I'm going to touch on Heretics.
All right.
I easily think they re-sign Real. I don't think Real's going anywhere. I think he stays
That's another
with Heretics.
one. Yeah, when I saw that he became a free agent too, I was like, "What are we doing here?" Like,
yeah, I really don't think Real goes anywhere.
I know that he's being rumored to potentially go to, what was it, FaZe or something like that. Like,
Maybe Ultra. I don't know.
that might have been it. Yeah. But no, I think Heretics would be insane not to keep those three and then just add a fourth. But trying to think now.
Yeah, this is when it's going to start getting
Yeah,
tough.
it's gonna get tough. Now we're really just kind of getting like hypothetical. But okay, I think this might be. Hmm. Here's the deal, right? We know Celium is gonna be on a team.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Like,
just which team.
It's which team. And of these teams that we have here, I think it either ends up being Falcons because they also throw a bag at him. And then he would also have the familiarity of playing with a BZ still.
Yep.
I could see Ultra or Koi trying to bring him into the mix, as they're really trying to build around Joe Deceives. But in my personal opinion, I think the scenario that does end up happening with this is, and I don't necessarily agree with it, Celium goes to 100 Thieves.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that, man.
I don't know how I feel about a scrap Celium AR pairing logistically, but knowing that 100 Thieves recently exited the League of Legends scene, which I think we touched on last week, pretty much means that the only main esport that they're competing in is COD. So you know they're gonna want to be the most competitive, or they're wanting to be as competitive as possible if that's their only esport. And I mean, you can't tell me that going from Envoy and Ghosty to Kismet and Celium is not a massive upgrade. So
Yeah,
I think that's what happens there.
I agree. I'm going to kind of throw a curveball at you. And I'm going to say that G2 picks up a familiar face that they used to have, or Minnesota
Hmm.
Rocker, for those that don't know. I think they pick up Afro.
Hmm. Let's just elaborate on that one.
So I'm actually one that's pretty high on Afro. I think he's a
Mm-hmm.
lot better than what people give him credit for. And I think he finds his way back into the league this year. And what better team to go back to than like that's where he got started, right? I'm pretty sure. Or was it
Um,
Royal Ravens that he got started?
Ravens, and then I want to
And
say
then Minnesota Rocker?
only on Thieves at one point, or am I tripping?
Oh, he was on Thieves for a little bit
Yeah, but you're right. He was with Rocker, but he got started with Ravens.
with Ravens. But I think G2 would want to try and shake things up a little bit and just see what they can do, having their core two of Geo and Estriel in this
Yeah,
hypothetical, and pick up a guy that I believe is better than what most people give him credit for,
yeah,
in Afro, and see how him and Estriel do together.
yeah. Well, here's the deal. If that's the case, I think a fun selection to finish off G2, because what they're missing is another AR player and a certain very, very talented AR player recently announced that he is so back. And he is uh, he's hungry. We know what he can do when he's playing at his best. He's,
Yep.
I mean, at this point, a veteran of the scene, which is weird to say because it doesn't feel that way at times. But I think it'd be real interesting if they brought Illy in to finish
Yeah.
off that squad.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
I
I
think
do.
it's a good opportunity for Illy to kind of show what he's capable of again at the CDL level. Um, I think again, I just him and Geo could be a real fun AR pairing.
Yep.
And again,
Hey, Katrina, thanks for chiming in.
I yeah, I just think I don't know. I think of all the roster spots that are left, I think some team is gonna pick him up because he's got name recognition. You know what he can do when he's playing at a top level. Why
Right.
not to that roster? In my opinion, I think it's
Sure.
great.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. Hottingly with the comment saying, I want Benjay to get signed to a roster.
Oh,
Yeah,
gee,
that would be
Benjay route.
amazing to see.
Yeah, get the Benjay route going. Shit, we are close to finishing this off. We only
Yeah.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only have 9 roster spots left, and look how many available players. Like, it's nuts.
I know it's insane. So this one, I'm going with. We're going to talk about the Royal Ravens for a second because
Mm.
they're just sitting with Slasher right now. I'm going to give an opportunity to a guy that everybody tries to. How should I put it? They all like to call him overrated,
Mm.
but I don't think that's the case. I just think he needs somebody like a Slasher to help keep him in check a little bit and unlock his full potential. Like he's done, like Slasher has kind of done with a lot of people in his careers. He's allowed. This is an SMG player, and I
Mm-hmm.
think he will allow this SMG player to play how he wants to play, while also keeping him in check. I'm going to go with Nero to the Royal Ravens.
That's a good pickup, honestly. I think Nero has quietly been a very, very, very solid player everywhere that he's been.
Yep.
I like that a lot. I just gotta find him, but
He is down there at the bottom right.
there he is again with the G2 uh, jersey on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Now, hmm. Okay. This is tough, man. Because
This is tough.
there's certain guys on this list that just like I know are gonna end up on a roster. It's just kind of like
But where?
where, because for example, uh, L.A. Gorilla Mates or whatever, and Ravens, they still need SMG players. Um, I. Mm, I think a duo of Envoy and Nero wouldn't be bad. And you
Nice.
know Envoy's going to get picked up if he's
Yeah,
not
Envoy will definitely be picked up.
And
See,
I can't, he's not going to go to Ultra, obviously. I don't see he would go, he's not going to Heretics.
no.
And
I,
there's no room
I
in the
don't even think he
Falcons.
would entertain the idea of going to Gorilla Mates. So
Yeah, and that, exactly. So, I think this is the start of something solid.
yep,
Again, it's not champs material in my opinion, but like it can at least be competitive.
for
I
sure.
don't hate that SMG pairing, honestly.
I don't either. This is tough
It is.
because
It's getting real
I've got
tough.
I've got to get him off the board. There's a couple that we really need to get off the board because they're still available.
Yeah.
Um, let me round out the Falcon squad
Yeah, let's do it.
with Beans.
Big Benjamin Beans, the
Yes,
hero
sir.
of Optic Gaming.
So Hottingly comes in with the chat. If Envoy could be more consistent, I feel like he would have been so good for that LAT roster. But from day one, I felt the inconsistency would be an issue, and now we are here.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. I just think that's his struggles, and plus he talks a little too much too, like we pointed out last week. Talks a little too much about the challengers players instead of like focusing on his own game.
Yeah.
So Beans
Damn.
to Falcons, Mars take. Hey, he's got to go somewhere, and I'm looking at these rosters, and I'm just like, man, I just don't know, but
Oh man.
but
It is
they
tough.
really need a main AR over there. I know Beans isn't technically a main AR, but I think he can run that role, and so the only other option I would have put him at was maybe Ravens, to finish it out, but I just don't know. It's tough. It's a coin flip for me.
A move I really don't hate for Ultra or Koi to make based on the available field. This might be crazy because I think we've been seeing a lot more talks of flashier moves for that roster because it's all like, oh, they want to build a super team around Joe Deceives. I just personally don't think that it's gonna happen, so to speak. I don't know. I think a move that makes a lot of sense, and people might call it faded, and so many teams have frickin' slept on this guy for no reason. I would like Vivid to Ultra as their flex.
Yeah.
And if they were to cut him, it would ruin their whole season. It's happened to like pretty much every other team that has done it. But I think like that set of three guys right there, they could get real freaking shifty on the map. And you put the right like main AR to go along with this squad, I think they could keep pace with a lot of teams and set the pace and make a lot of teams uncomfortable with how fast they could play.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to round out that roster and put Awakening on Ultra.
Ooh, Giga Wake.
Gig Awake on Ultra.
What's the rationale behind that? I know they need an
Man,
NAR.
because your options are fucking limited. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it. That is a good way to put it.
Your options are limited, and you need an AR. So that's the rationale behind that. But no, I mean, I could see Awakening being able to run the main AR in this situation with along with Vivid as your flex. And I think that kind of brings out the best in Awakening too. I've always kind of seen him as a good main AR. So I just think it makes sense. Like for him, like I think him and Vivid would work well together.
Oh yeah,
so.
you're frozen again.
Frozen again.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the options are limited as hell. You got to do what you got to do. You said I think Xnid, Pred, Abe is a crazy core three. They need a brain to the operation. I see Glow Frosty, Brack, Gunless for Falcons.
Yeah. You know, I like both Glow Frosty and Brack a lot. I think Glow Frosty um, really deserves a chance in the league, but he hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. And I'm not sure if it's going to come this year or not.
Yeah. I know technically we have 2 rosters we could finish out, and then we have one that has 2 players. Mates are gonna need SMG players based on what we currently have with them.
Yep.
And looking at the available field,
Not a lot of good ones.
I think Kremp makes a lot of sense.
Kremp does make a lot of sense there.
Based on the remaining field, I don't hate, getting Kremp and then putting someone else around him that you think would pair with him well. Obviously, I think this is probably our weakest roster that we have at the moment. Of all the ones that we've put together, but he's gonna go somewhere. Old Boston duo Wake and Vivid is tippable with Jody and Abe. Oh yeah,
I think it works out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they were a duo there for Boston for a little bit, weren't they?
Yep. And then they dropped Vivid, and it went horribly.
I'm going to finish out Royal Ravens with a guy that is going to be a familiar face for him, where he got his start, and that is Nasty.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think it makes too much sense. Reunite with Nasty, and then I think you've got a pretty good squad there.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, again, I think with a lot of our other squads, is it Optic level? Is it 100 Thieves level? No. But not every roster is going to look like that, but like, again, that's a roster that if they're clicking and they're all on the same page, like, they could compete. They could win some matches and maybe make it to a Sunday or two. Like, I don't hate that at all.
Awesome.
Nasty just can't be doing any of those action movie dive outs.
Diving, giving all the Surge fan heart attacks and stuff.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more rosters to finish. Based on the remaining field, personally, and I don't know why they didn't just go into the off season like this, anyways. Heretics, run it back.
Yeah.
Why
just run it back?
Like why? At least to start the season, run that shit back.
Yeah, they were too competitive not to run it back.
I mean, you had Optic on their heels before they, reverse swept and everything. Like, don't crash out because of getting, 3rd or 4th at EWC. Like, y'all were a really solid squad. You were really fun to watch. You were always competitive against the top teams. You get a whole off season together of work. you're gonna be a good team. You're gonna be one
Yeah.
of the best, probably, especially with all the having cohesion is a luxury this offseason. If you can do that, why not?
For sure.
So we got to round out our final squad here.
We do, and this is probably going to be a faded take, but I just don't see him not having a spot in the league. So to round out Gentlemates and all of our squads here, give me Mr. TJ Haley on Gentlemates to
Feeling
pair
like
with Crimp.
Oh shit, not 5. Wow. That is certainly a squad.
That is certainly a squad right there. That is one of the squads of all time.
That is that is a squad. So that rounds out. Yeah, I mean that is our final team.
Well, comment who y'all's favorite roster is out of all these that we made. Obviously, there's going to be
I think
several
Joe
ones to
Mace is gonna
choose
be
from,
number
but
one.
just yeah, you don't even have to choose one. Just choose some of your favorites that you liked. Anything that you would change. Feel free to comment. But yeah, I mean that's just going to do it for our roster building. Let us know how our skills are with roster building.
Yeah, that's what we got. I mean, again, this is all hypothetical. This is just what we think might happen based on all the talks we've heard, all the just we gave our reasonings, we gave some logic to it. Of course, anything can happen, but this is what we're thinking, and I think that's gonna round out this episode.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Never Chalked, where it is never chalked. And we will see you guys next time. I'm your host, Volts, joined by my co-host, Piscaro DB. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. We will see you guys next time.
See ya.